A very good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News here on MTV Sports. I'm Ramesh Irugal Bandara. Let's start off with a look at your headlines. Investigations launched into the attack on the Udayan newspaper office in Kilinochchi. CEB to discuss issues pertaining to securing furnace oil for the Keravalapitia power plant with Petroleum Ministry officials. And North Korea blocks South Korean workers from entering the Kaesong industrial zone. On to those stories in detail. Now, the police have commenced investigations into an attack on the Udayan newspaper office in Kilinochchi. According to the police, the attack was carried out by an unidentified group at dawn today. The police said that 7 masked individuals had attacked the Udayan newspaper office in Kilinochchi. 2 employees who were injured in the attack were admitted to the Kilinochchi hospital, while property at the Udayan newspaper office was also damaged. The Dhammadvipa Council, initiated under the instructions of the chief prelates of the 3 main sects in the island, held its first meeting at the International Buddhist Center in Pallekele, Kandy yesterday. The Dhammadvipa Council was established to protect Buddhism in the country. A group including Dewara Nilame Pradeep Nilangabala also participated in the meeting. It is a known fact that citizens of this country have a responsibility to use all their strength to protect the peace in the country. We should have a good understanding on how to operate the country in the international arena and the challenges that are before the country. Religious and ethnic minorities have come together in the world today. We constantly speak proudly about our heritage, history and culture, but we are just passing time without coming together to do something. Renovation work commenced yesterday on tanks that were damaged recently due to the heavy showers that were experienced in Anuradhapura. Now, this initiative commenced under the auspices of Chief Minister of the North Central Province, S.M. Ranjit. The renovation of the Madadenikama tank in Nochiagam began under the patronage of the Chief Minister of the North Central Province. 34 tanks will be renovated under this program, which is being implemented with aid worth 265 million rupees from Japan. Renovation work on the tanks will be concluded within the same year, while plans have been formulated to renovate the waterways, bunt and sluice gates of the tank. The recent heavy showers in the North Central Province destroyed nearly 100 tanks in Anuradhapura. The Ceylon Electricity Board states that discussions will be held with the Ministry of Petroleum Industries regarding issues that have been arisen in obtaining furnace oil for electricity generation at the Keravalapitia power plant. Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, W.B. Ganegala, says that with the Keravalapitia power plant being closed without furnace oil for electricity generation, an extra cost of 15 million rupees has to be incurred daily. Ganegala also said that therefore electricity generation is taking place through the Kalanithissa power plant. He pointed out that a unit of electricity is generated at a cost of 23 rupees and 30 cents, while electricity is supplied to the consumer at 15 rupees and 60 cents. The CEB chairman noted that with the increase in the electricity demand on certain days, the cost of generating a unit of electricity increases to 40 to 50 rupees. Ganegala said that despite the rising cost of electricity generation, a unit of electricity will be supplied to the consumer at the normal price of 15 rupees and 60 cents. He said that the loss suffered by the Ceylon Electricity Board is 75,000 billion rupees. The CEB chairman said that under the prevailing situation, electricity tariffs will have to be increased in order to minimize the cost of electricity generation, and a request in this regard has been made to the Public Utilities Commission. Well, we will have details of that story coming up on the News First International Desk. But before that, continuing with more local news, the Ministry of National Heritage has decided to carry out further inspections at the National Museum in Colombo to find out whether there are more hazardous locations at the museum. Subject Minister Dr. Jagat Balasuriya said that this will be done after obtaining the report of the expert committee appointed to look into the collapse of a stairway at the National Museum recently, which injured several children and adults. Now the minister says that the report will be handed over within the next 2 weeks.
We
have appointed an expert committee consisting of specialist engineers and architects to look into the reason behind this incident. They will submit their report in the next 2 weeks. Once we obtain this report, the committee will look into whether there are other hazardous places in the museum, like the roof, for instance. There is no problem with the roof of the museum, but there was a problem earlier when it rained. The required measures will be taken thereafter. A private bus flying from Colombo to Vavuniya met with an accident early this morning in the Kalupalam area in Pahalavawa, Kalevela. The bus collided with a tractor and toppled into a paddy field at around 1:30 this morning. The police said that 2 persons travelling in the tractor, the bus driver and the conductor who sustained injuries, are receiving treatment at the Dambulla Base Hospital. The bus conductor was later transferred to the Kurunegala Teaching Hospital. However, none of the passengers in the bus were injured in the accident. District Medical Officer of the Vatawala Hospital, Dr. Ayesha Shamali Vettasinghe, says that the day-old infant that was found recently under a culvert located near the Sinhala Central College in Hatton needs further in-house treatment. The infant was to be handed over to a children's home today.
The Hatton magistrate ordered yesterday for the infant to be placed under the care of the Tikiri Children's Home in Peradeniya. Although prison officials arrived at the children's home, they were informed by hospital officials that the infant needed further in-house treatment. We are currently giving antibiotics to prevent bacteria from entering the baby's system. Normally, this antibiotic course is given for 3 days. The 3 days will conclude tomorrow. Thereafter, we have to give the baby a BCG vaccination. Once we complete this treatment, we can hand over the baby to court. Dr. Vettasinghe further noted that many people have made requests to adopt the infant. Around 100 people made inquiries over the phone asking whether the infant can be given for adoption. There is no need to abandon a child on the street.
Services at the National Hospital returned to normal today after the junior staff of the hospital called off their 2-day trade union action. Director of the National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinghe, noted that emergency services as well as essential services have returned to normal. The protest was launched against the transfer of an individual attached to the hospital after he was found guilty of having disrupted an investigation carried out by the Ministry of Health in 2009. The protest, which was held over the past 2 days, disrupted activities at the National Hospital. Yesterday, the Ministry of Health notified that attendants who do not report to work for services pertaining to the treatment of patients at the National Hospital will be considered to have left their jobs. The Maligakanda Magistrates Court also issued an order to call off the strike. Before we wrap up the news, let's take a look at one more local story that has come in. The case filed against 7 persons, including Malaka Silva, the son of Minister Mervyn Silva, on charges of assaulting an army major, has been dismissed by the 4th Magistrate Gihan Palpitia. The 7 persons were accused of assaulting the army major on the 8th of September last year. When the case was taken up today, the 4th Magistrate ordered for the 7 persons, including Malaka Silva, to be acquitted. The 4th Magistrate, who said that this was based on the advice of the Attorney General, added that there wasn't sufficient evidence for a case to be filed. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Lunchtime News. As always, it was a pleasure having you with us. For the News First team, I'm Ramesh Bandaru. Take care.